You know what time it is. You do. But that's it. You can actually go out and become the master vampire. Become the master vampire lord. And be the master who takes down the sun. But another one of these aspects of the DLC here are the Snow Elf people. And they followed the original Ariel. And Ariel is just Akatosh and Alduin. 3 different shards of time. Ariel is the beginning of the time that the Snow Elves worshipped. And it was interesting to go on a pilgrimage of Ariel and understand the culture of the Snow Elves, but also witness as the Falmer what happened after the Snow Elves were blinded. Notice as they begin to raise consciousness once again and they create a mini city that you actually get to explore on your pilgrimage. Notice that they're no longer blind and savage, but smart enough to create a miniature city for you to fight Falmer through, that goes through the canvas of the Snow Elf people of the mountains. They are starting to raise consciousness once again and fight through that to gain the powers to take down the sun, to get Ariel's bow and unlock the power of the blood and use ritualistic blood on arrows of Ariel's bow to do one thing: take down the sun. Over entire villages and turn them into your cattle. You can take it all over. I introduce you to my character. Nice, sexy, but it's about to get way more sexy. As you can see, my character started practicing necromancy. Became a black wizard. And is starting to use necromancy. Oh God, my necromantic skills are empowering because I am enveloped with the shadow realm. Oh my God, I have become a vampire. I am the darkness of the night. I need more. More!
You have found our fortress. You have returned, my daughter. But what is it you seek? Is it to be one of us? To make the dark?
Elder Scrolls Skyrim Dawnguard. This is one of the best DLCs that I have played through because it focuses on the vigilance of Stendar, which is a group of holy rollers and holy people founded after the Oblivion Crisis, you know. And after that, the Oblivion Crisis, they formed a holy group to hunt vampires, demon worshippers, or Daedra worshippers, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. And they're but that all changes when the leader of the Vigilant, Charlotte, I believe, gets attacked by vampires because they're investigating some cave, and they are attacked by vampires, and the vampire menace is rising. And this is one of those macabre DLCs that I actually love to see from a video game, where they take something and make it darker in the sequel. or make it darker in a DLC, or in a patch, or in a sequel, or a DLC, expansion pack, etc. And I really think Elder Scrolls Skyrim needed that dark edge, even though there was already a lot of macabre in the game, like Aventus Argentina, which is basically performing the Black Sacrament to summon the Dark Brotherhood. So there is that. Skyrim's already one of the darkest games in the Elder Scrolls series, so making it darker just makes it so much better. Makes it extremely better. You don't have any idea how good this game really is and what really makes this game. And everything, a whole bunch of innovation, a whole bunch of new set of animations set to make it look cinematic, like wildlife animations, open world animations and stuff like that. Not the character animations, those are still pretty bland. So, I mean, I'm talking about like stuff like waterfalls, tree movement, that sort of stuff. And in this game, you figure out that a vampire from the second or first era was locked away with an Elder Scroll. And if you don't know what Elder Scrolls are, then I highly recommend you look up Elder Scroll Wikipedia, or play through the game and realize that they're fragments of time that depict a certain prophecy, and they're real, yet they're not real. Basically what Pasternak says in the main storyline of Skyrim. And this whole story just kind of felt home to me. I've always wanted to play that game where I was a vampire, and I would have the willing power to just kill off an entire village and feed off all of these villagers and take control and make an entire village fear me. And this game, Dawnguard, does nothing better than that. They give you Vampire Lord ability to turn into a vampire master of Valkahar clan. And if you don't know what Valkahar clan is, essentially in the book Immortal Blood in Oblivion actually kind of brings them up. That they grab you from underneath the ice and kind of trap you in some sort of basically like kind of like Luke Skywalker, what the troll does, or what the ice creature does to Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back. Kind of like keeps him there like that. That's what the vampires do when they suck off all their blood. So it kind of felt good to know that going inside the clan and going inside Volkahar Castle, there's just cattle everywhere, and you can just be as dark and brutal as you want. And you can just basically live your dream or nightmare as the most badass vampire to pretty much ever exist in most fiction nowadays. Not only that, but you can be a vampire hunter. Unfortunately, you don't really... I'm sorry, I never became a vampire hunter, because that's not how I roleplay. Because most of the time, I feel sympathy for bloodsuckers. I feel sympathy for the unholy types. And from my personal opinion from playing the game, I think those Vigilant of Stendarr are basically just illegally hunting vampires and witches and Daedra or demons. If you actually understand Skyrim or Elder Scrolls law, you can't just hunt people down on superstition like that. Especially if you're a witch, because in the Elder Scrolls series, more than half the townfolk are witches, are alchemists, are conjurers, are mystics. So it's not really legally right. So I kind of lean towards the vampires a bit. And also, you get another badass crossbow, and I believe a spear. No wait, that's Dragonborn. Oh, and I want to talk about Dragonborn a little bit, where you get to actually see Raven Rock in its prime, and you actually get to hunt down the very first Dragonborn. You are the last, and you now get to fight the first that's been immortalized by the demon or Daedric Lord Hermaeus Mora, which is the god of all knowledge that has ever existed. So going through this game and knowing that the DLCs make it even better, and yeah, Skyrim is one of the best games ever released. Like, I mean, quite literally ever released. With purpose. Everybody says it's the most resold game or the most published game. Like, there's many on all the consoles, because it really is. It kind of deserves all that. Bethesda even kind of comedically made fun of that in E3 2018, I believe, with the whole Fusro Da Siri thing. But yeah, you can actually live out in this in Dawnguard. You can actually live out with your dream or your personal nightmare of becoming a vampire lord of darkness and taking over villages, killing people like cattle, or drinking from them in the middle of the night like cattle, and then walk out and stare up at the Borealis, because that is just badass. And I know when I was this game came out, and this DLC came out when I was like 16, so of course I was in the middle of my teenage fantasy fetish area. And you know, back then when I first played this, I actually thought that Serana was just really hot, especially when she was talking about the whole ritual that she did with Molag Bal to become a vampire, and that whole blood orgy. I don't know, I think it was kind of realistic and kind of sexy at the same time. So, and when you actually go, oh, and Soul Cairn, you actually go into the land of the dead, and basically in the game, when you have to use people's souls to enchant items or refill them with soul gems and all that. But once those souls are used up, they go to the Soul Cairn and deal with the Ideal Masters, which kind of like overview that entire realm of the unknown. Because it's actually not a realm of oblivion. It's the realm of the unknown. And my favorite part of the whole storyline is when Serana and you actually go to Veronica, I think, is Serana's mother, and you have to figure out how she was able to use necromancy to open a realm to the unknown, which is the Soul Cairn, which is beyond life or death. Basically, kind of like Purgatory, but not really Purgatory, because that's where you go and your soul's used up in an enchantment. So, yeah, and the lighting in the Soul Cairn kind of lights up Serana's face, and it really makes the white of her skin and the red of her eyes even more sexy. So, yeah. I highly recommend this DLC. I highly recommend you get the game, the Legendary or Special Edition, because you can understand this full game. And I apologize for my teenage or childlike fantasies at the time of this release, which was around 2012, when I was 16, 17. And that was back when I saw Subject Zero as sexy, and the Dark Magician from Teen Titans. What's her name? Yeah, Raven. That was when I was a child. Even before my teenage years, when I was like 9 or 10, I always kind of thought Raven from Teen Titans was kind of hot. And when I was a teenager, I kind of thought the whole Serana thing was... And Subject Zero from Mass Effect 2 and 3, I thought they were hot. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this review, and have a pleasant day.
Is it to be one of us? To make the darkness your own? To feast on the souls of the living and the dead? The Elder Scrolls will be mine. shall end.
No, but there's a lot to this, because the sequel DLCs, what the DLCs really are about, is really just an expansion of lore and bringing a darker aspect to the series, like the original Battlespire did, which was supposed to be a DLC for Daggerfall. And you actually get to understand more about the Dragon Wars. Although Skyrim kind of slacks and doesn't really bring you much information about the Dragon Wars, because it really simplifies the dialogue, but it goes into the Dragon Priest's role inside the Dragon Wars in the Mythic era. So there's a whole bunch of nuance and even suggestive dialogue that goes into what the Dragon Wars were about. So, yeah. But no, you can go much further. And you can capitalize in your capital, in your castle, and take it all over. Become the master and solve the garden mystery. You can, for the first time ever, see the moon dial, solve it and become the master, and solve the ritual that opens up the portal to the Solcan, which is the land of used up souls. And of course you can take the boat to Solstheim and fight the first Dragonborn, the epic battle between the first Dragonborn, which was the priest that defected from the Dragon Order in the Mythic era, versus the last Dragonborn. The last that have killed so many dragon priests in the past. Not only that, we can go to Raven Rock and see the new tribunal. The new tribunal. But get to witness the new tribunal of Solstheim and Morrowind. That is the goddess Asira, Boethia, and Mephala. Mephala is the spider demon, and Asira is the goddess of dusk and dawn, and Boethia is the goddess or god of betrayal and sacrifice. Get to know the ways of the Dark Elves as they follow these dark entities as gods, and that is their religious tribunal. After Vivek left and the old tribunal was laid away, that is their new tribunal. Get to witness the new tribunal of the Dark Elves and go across Solstheim, gaining these books, these black books of dark magic, and be transported to the underworld to unlock the secrets of divination, summoning, incantation, and the bindings of health, stamina, and magic, and be able to summon your own Daedric black market dealer or someone to carry your junk, and be the master of the black books and create a new world under Hermaeus Mora, and go fast forward into the realms of oblivion. Go into the realms of oblivion!